The desperate call. The void was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the heavy kind. The kind that feels like death is waiting. The alien ship Verex 9 floated slowly in deep space. Its engines were dead. Its lights flickered like they were about to give up. Inside, the crew moved slowly, their faces pale, their eyes tired. They had been drifting for hours. No, for longer. Captain Kale stood near the main window. Outside, there was nothing. No stars nearby. No planets. Just endless black space. He did not move for a long time. Behind him, a young officer spoke in a weak voice. "Captain, oxygen levels are dropping again." Kale closed his eyes for a second. "How long?" he asked quietly. "Maybe 4 hours. Less if systems fail again." The room went silent. Everyone already knew the answer. There was no rescue coming. Their communication systems were damaged, their engines destroyed, their weapons useless. And worst of all, they were not alone. A larger enemy fleet was searching for them. And when that fleet found them, it would not be a battle. It would be an execution. Kale turned slowly and walked the control panel. Sparks came out from broken wires. The ship had taken too much damage during the last fight. "We sent the signal?" he asked. A technician nodded. "Yes, Captain. Emergency call sent to all nearby systems." "Any reply?" The technician hesitated. "No, Captain." Kale looked down. That was expected. No one came this far into empty space. No one risked their ships for a dying crew. Not in this part of the galaxy. But still, they had tried. Hope was a strange thing. Even when it made no sense, it stayed alive. A soft voice came from the back. "What about the humans?" Everyone turned. It was Officer Lyra. She looked nervous, unsure she should even speak. Kale stared at her. "Humans," he repeated. "Yes, they received our signal too." A low murmur spread in the room. Some crew members looked worried. Others looked confused. Humans, a strange species, unpredictable, dangerous. No one truly understood them. Some said humans were kind. Others said they were cold and violent. Stories about them were always extreme. But one thing was certain. Humans did not respond like other races. They followed their own rules. Kale shook his head slowly. "They will not come," he said. Lyra frowned. "But what if—" "No," Kale said firmly. "They do not help unless they want to. And we are not important." The room went quiet again. But Lyra did not look convinced. Minutes passed. The ship creaked. Systems failed one by one. Lights went darker. Air became thinner. The crew sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Some thought about their home worlds. Some thought about their families. Some simply waited. Suddenly, beep, a sharp sound broke the silence. Everyone froze. The sensor officer jumped up. "Captain, we have a signal." Kale turned quickly. "What kind of signal?" The officer looked confused. I don't know. It's very weak. And strange." "Show me." Data appeared on the screen. Lines and symbols moved rapidly. Kale leaned closer. "This is not a normal communication signal," he said. "No, Captain. It's different." "Location?" The officer checked again. Then his eyes widened. "That's not possible." "What?" "It's coming from right in front of us." Kale turned slowly toward the window. There was nothing there, only darkness. "Scan again," Kale ordered. The sensors beeped again. "Captain, something is there." "What do you mean, something?" "I mean, something large. Very large." "How large?" The officer swallowed. "Bigger than anything we have seen." A cold feeling spread through the room. Kale's voice became sharp. "Why can we not see it?" "I don't know, Captain. It's hiding. Or not fully here." Suddenly, the lights flickered violently. The ship shook. "What is happening?" Someone shouted. "Energy spike detected," the technician yelled. "Source?" Kale demanded. "Unknown." Then, slowly, something began to appear outside. At first, it was just a shadow, a distortion in space. Like reality itself was bending. The crew moved closer to the window, their hearts beating fast. The shadow grew bigger, and bigger, and bigger, until they saw it. A ship. No, not a ship. A monster. It was massive, larger than any warship known to the galaxy. Its surface was dark, almost black, with no visible lights. Only faint red lines moved across its body, like veins glowing in the dark. It did not shine like other ships. It did not make noise. It simply existed, heavy, silent, terrifying. No one spoke. No one moved. Even breathing felt difficult. Kale stared at it, unable to look away. "What is that?" Lyra whispered. No one answered, because no one knew. The sensor officer spoke again, his voice shaking. "Captain, I am reading power levels." "How strong?" The officer hesitated. Then he said slowly, "Impossible." Kale's heart sank. Suddenly, another alarm sounded. "Captain!" a crew member shouted. "Enemy fleet detected." The room snapped back to reality. "How far?" Kale asked quickly. 30 minutes, maybe less." Kale looked back at the giant ship outside. It had not moved. It had not spoken. It had not reacted. It was just watching. "Try to communicate." Kale ordered. "No response, Captain." Again. Still nothing. The ship remained silent, like a sleeping giant. "Captain," Lyra said slowly, "what if it is them?" Kale did not reply, but deep inside, he knew what she meant. "Humans." Another officer spoke, fear in his voice. "If that is a human ship, then why are they not answering?" No one had an answer. Time passed. The enemy fleet was getting closer. The giant ship remained still. The tension grew heavier with every second. Then, without warning, the giant ship moved, just a little, but enough to make everyone freeze. Its massive body shifted forward, slowly turning toward the direction of the incoming enemy fleet, like it had finally decided something. Kale stepped closer to the glass. His voice was almost a whisper. "If that is a human ship..." He paused, his eyes locked on the dark giant. "Then we are about to witness something we will never understand." Outside, the void remained silent, but something had changed, something powerful, something dangerous, something that did not follow the rules of the galaxy. And for the first time since their ship began to die, the crew of Varix 9 felt something again. Not hope, not yet, but something close. Fear mixed with curiosity. The giant warship slowly moved forward, toward the enemy, alone, and Captain Kale realized one thing. This was no rescue. This was something else. Something far more terrifying. "That is not a ship," he whispered. His voice trembled. "That is a moving fortress." To be continued. The unknown arrival. The void did not change. It was still dark, still endless, still silent. But now it was no longer empty. The massive warship moved slowly ahead of Varix 9. It did not rush. It did not show fear. Every movement was calm, controlled, certain, like it already knew the outcome. Inside the damaged alien ship, no one spoke for a long time. They just watched. Captain Kale stood still, his eyes locked on the giant vessel. "Distance enemy fleet?" he asked quietly. 23 minutes, the sensor officer replied. Kale nodded slowly. "And the unknown ship?" The officer checked again. "It is moving directly toward them." No hesitation. No delay. Just moving forward. "That makes no sense," one crew member said. "It's only one ship," another added. "It will be destroyed." Kale did not respond, because deep inside, he was not sure that was true. "Scan it again," Kale ordered. "I want full data." The sensors began working harder. Screens filled with numbers, symbols, warnings. Then, the system beeped loudly. "Captain, we cannot complete the scan." "Why?" "It's like the ship is blocking us. Our sensors cannot read its full structure. Not even basic systems?" "No, Captain. It's like trying to scan nothing." Lyra stepped closer. "That is not normal," she said softly. "No," Kale replied. "It is not." The crew watched as the giant ship moved further away from them. Slowly, it placed itself between Varix 9 and the incoming enemy fleet. like a shield. Captain, the technician whispered. Why would it do that? No one answered. Suddenly, a signal appeared. Weak, short, but clear. Captain, incoming transmission. Kale turned quickly. From the unknown ship? Yes. Put it through. The speakers turned on. Static filled the room. A few seconds passed. Then, a voice. It was different. Calm. Cold. Simple. Signal received. The room froze. That was all. No greeting. No identification. Just 3 words. Kale stepped forward. This is Captain Kale of the vessel Verex 9, he said. We are under attack. Our ship is critically damaged. We request assistance. Silence. Then, the same voice replied. Understood. Again, nothing more. No questions. No emotion. Just that one word. The connection ended. That's it? One officer said in shock. That's all they say? Kale stared at the screen. Yes, he said quietly. That is all. Lyra crossed her arms. That felt strange. Kale nodded. Yes. Then he looked back out the window. But they heard us. Time moved forward. The enemy fleet was now visible. Small lights appeared in the distance. Then more. Then dozens. Ships of different sizes. Moving in formation. Weapons ready. Engines burning bright. They were fast. And they were coming straight toward them. Enemy fleet confirmed. The sensor officer said. Total ships 53. A heavy silence filled the room. 53 warships. Against one unknown vessel. They will destroy it, someone whispered. No, another said. They will erase it. But the giant warship did not stop. It continued forward. Alone. Distance? Kale asked. 15 minutes. The tension grew stronger. The crew could feel in their bodies. Something big was about to happen. Something no one was ready for. Captain, Lyra said slowly. What if this is a mistake? Kale looked at her. What do you mean? What if that ship is not here to save us? The idea spread quickly through the room. Fear returned. Kale thought for a moment. Then he shook his head. No, he said. That ship had a choice. He looked back at the dark giant, and it chose to move toward the enemy. The enemy fleet began to spread out. They were preparing for battle. Attack formations. Flanking positions. Energy weapons charging. They see it, the sensor officer said. The unknown ship is now their primary target. Still, the giant ship did not react. No weapons visible. No shields detected. Nothing. Why is it not preparing? A crew member asked. This is suicide. Kale narrowed his eyes. No, he said slowly. This is not suicide. The enemy fleet opened fire. Bright beams of energy cut through the darkness. Missiles followed, leaving trails of light behind them. The void exploded with color. Impact in 5 seconds, the technician shouted. The crew held their breath. The first wave hit. A massive explosion filled space. Light covered everything. The screen went white. Then, slowly, the light faded. The crew leaned forward, trying to see, trying to understand. And then, they saw it. The giant warship was still there, unmoved, untouched. What? Someone whispered. No damage detected, the sensor officer said, his voice shaking. Repeat, no damage detected. The room fell into shock. That's impossible, another officer said. No shield can survive that. Kale's eyes widened. Then maybe it is not a shield. Outside, the warship finally reacted. A low hum-filled space. Deep, heavy, like something waking up. Red lines on the ship began to glow brighter. Energy moved across its surface. Not chaotic, but controlled. Precise. Captain, the technician whispered. I am detecting weapon systems. Kale did not speak. He just watched. The giant ship stopped moving. For 1 second, everything went still. Then, it attacked. A single beam of red light shot forward. Fast, silent, deadly. It hit the first enemy ship and cut it in half. No explosion. No warning. Just gone. The enemy fleet froze for a moment. Then chaos began. "They are changing formation," the sensor officer shouted. "They are retreating, no, regrouping." But it was too late. More beams fired. Precise. Accurate. Each shot found a target. Each target disappeared. Missiles launched next. Dozens. Then hundreds. Each one tracking a different enemy ship. "This is not a battle," Kale whispered. Outside, the void was no longer silent. It was alive with destruction. Enemy ships tried to escape, tried to fight back, tried to survive. But nothing worked. Every attack they launched was useless. Every move they made was predicted. "They are being destroyed," Lyra said softly. Her voice was filled with disbelief. Kale slowly shook his head. "No," he said. His eyes stayed locked on the warship. "They are being erased." The giant ship did not rush. It did not show anger. It did not celebrate. It simply continued. Cold, silent, perfect. And in that moment, everyone on Varex 9 understood something. This was not just a ship. This was power. Power beyond anything they had ever seen. And the most terrifying part? It had answered their call. To be continued. The war that should not be won. The battle did not feel real. It felt wrong. Like something in the universe had broken. From the broken windows of Varex 9, the crew watched in silence as the enemy fleet burned. Ships that once ruled sectors now vanished in seconds. Formations that were perfect now scattered in panic. Weapons that destroyed planets now useless. And in the center of it all, the human warship, unstoppable. Captain Kale did not move. His hands were tight behind his back. His eyes followed every movement of the dark giant. "Enemy ships remaining?" he asked. The sensor officer checked, his fingers shaking. 30 no, 28, dropping fast. Another beam fired. 3 ships gone. 25. Missiles followed. Silent. Perfect. 21. Kale exhaled slowly. "This is not possible," he said. "No single ship can do this." Lyra stood beside him. "But it is happening," she whispered. Outside, the enemy fleet tried something new. They changed direction. Instead of attacking, they started to run. "They are retreating," the sensor officer shouted. For a moment, hope appeared on their faces. "Maybe it's over," one crew member said. "Maybe they will escape." Kale shook his head slowly. "No," he pointed at the warship. "They are not escaping." The giant ship moved again. Not fast, but faster than before. It turned slightly, its massive body blocking the only escape path, like a hunter closing a trap. "Captain," the technician said, fear in his voice. "It's cutting them off." The enemy fleet fired everything they had. Desperate, wild, chaotic, energy beams filled space again. Missiles exploded in waves. This time, the human warship reacted differently. A faint glow appeared around it. Not bright, not visible like normal shields. But something was there. "Impact incoming," someone shouted. The attacks hit, again and again. But this time, the energy did not explode. It bent. It curved around the ship, like space itself was protecting it. Kale stepped forward, his voice low. "That is not a shield." Lyra looked at him. "Then what is it?" Kale did not answer, because he did not have the words. Outside, the warship attacked again. But now, it changed its pattern. No more simple beams. No more direct strikes. The space around the enemy ships began to distort, twist, break. "What is happening?" the sensor officer shouted. "I can't read it." An enemy cruiser suddenly stopped moving. Its engines still active, weapons still ready. Then, without warning, it collapsed inward, like it was being crushed by something invisible. In 1 second, it was gone. The crew of Varex 9 stared in horror. That's not a weapon," someone whispered. "It is," Kale said. His voice was heavy. "But not when we understand." The destruction continued. Enemy ships disappeared one by one. Some were cut apart. Some exploded. Some simply vanished. Remaining ships? Kale asked. 15. Silence filled the room again. But this time, it was different. Not fear of death. Fear of power. Suddenly, warning alarm. The entire ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Systems failed again. What happened? Kale shouted. Shockwave, the technician yelled. From the battlefield. The crew held on to anything they could. Outside, a massive explosion had just occurred, larger than anything before. For the first time, the human warship had taken a direct hit. A group of enemy ships had focused all fire at once. The explosion covered everything. Status, Kale demanded. No visual, the sensor officer replied. Too much energy. Seconds passed. Long, heavy, painful seconds. Lyra's voice was quiet. Is it destroyed? No one answered, because no one wanted to say it. Then, the light faded. Slowly, the shape returned. The warship, still there, but now, there was damage. Small sections of its surface were dark. Some of the red lines had stopped glowing. For the first time, it looked wounded. They hit it, the technician whispered. Kale nodded slowly. Yes, but his eyes did not show fear. They only made it angry. The warship moved again, faster now, more direct, no more waiting, no more control. Now, it was finishing the fight. Beams fired without pause. Missiles launched in waves. Space itself twisted and broke. The enemy fleet had no chance. 10 ships remaining. A cruiser tried to escape. A beam followed it. Destroyed. 7. Another group tried to hide behind debris. Missiles found them. Gone. 4. The last ship stayed together, firing everything they had. It did not matter. 2. Kale watched closely. His heart steady. His mind clear. This is not war, he said quietly. This is judgment. The final enemy ship stopped moving. Its weapons powered down. It sent a signal. Captain, the sensor officer said. It's surrendering. The room went still. Will the human ship stop? Lyra asked. Kale looked at the warship. It did not slow down. It did not respond. It fired. The last ship disappeared. No survivors. No mercy. Silence returned. Deep, heavy, endless. The battlefield was empty. Only debris remained, burning slowly in the dark. The war was over. But no one on Verex 9 spoke, because something still felt unfinished. The human warship remained there, floating, watching, waiting. Kale felt it. This was not the end. Not yet. He stepped closer to the console. Open communication channel, he said. The technician nodded. Channel open. Kale took a breath. This is Captain Kale, he said, his voice steady. You saved us. Silence. Then, the speakers activated. The same cold voice returned. But this time, there was something different. Something deeper. Negative. The crew looked at each other, confused. Kale frowned. What do you mean? A short pause. Then, the answer came. Slow. Clear. We did not come to save you. The room froze. Kale's heart dropped. Lyra stepped back slightly. Then why? She whispered. The voice answered. We came because they crossed a line. Silence. No one understood. But everyone felt it. Something bigger was happening. Something they were not part of. The warship began to move again. Not toward them. Not toward anything. Just away. Into the void. Kale stared at it. His voice was barely a whisper. What are humans? No one answered, because no one knew. And as a giant warship slowly disappeared into darkness, one truth remained. They had called for help, and something had answered, but it was not rescue. It was something far more dangerous. To be continued. The truth about humans. The void was quiet again. Too quiet. After everything that had just happened, the silence fell heavier than before. Debris from the destroyed fleet drifted slowly in space. Broken ships. Burned metal. Cold remains of a battle that should never have been lost. And in the middle of it all, the damaged vessel Verex 9. Alive. Still breathing. Inside the ship, no one celebrated. No one smiled. No one even spoke. Because what they had just seen was not victory. It was something else. Captain Kale stood in front of the main window, his eyes still fixed on the place where the human warship had disappeared. It was gone now. No trace. No signal. No sign it was ever there. Captain, Lyra said softly, they're gone. Kale nodded slowly. I know. But his voice was distant, lost in thought. They said they didn't come to save us. Lyra continued. Her tone was confused. Then why did they help? Kale did not answer immediately. He looked at the empty void, then finally spoke. Because we were never the reason. The room went silent again. What do you mean? The sensor officer asked. Kale turned slowly. They didn't fight for us, he said. They fought for something else. No one understood, but no one argued. Suddenly, beep, a signal appeared again. Weak, short, but clear. Captain, incoming transmission. Kale's eyes sharpened. Source. The officer checked, then froze. It's them. The entire room became still. Put it through, Kale said. The speakers activated. Static filled the air. Then, the same voice returned. Cold, calm, controlled. But this time, it spoke longer. Your vessel is stable. Kale stepped forward. Yes, he replied carefully. We are still operational, thanks to your actions. A pause. Then, incorrect. The crew looked at each other again. Confusion grew. Kale frowned. Explain. The answer came. Your survival was not the objective. A chill ran through the room. Lyra whispered. Then what was? There was a longer pause this time. Then, the truth began to unfold. 3 cycles ago, your enemy attacked a human outpost. Kale's eyes widened slightly. We received no report of that, he said. You were not meant to. The voice remained emotionless. The outpost was small, civilian, non-military. Silence. No survivors. The words hit harder than any weapon. The crew felt it, even without emotion, in the voice. The weight was there. Kale spoke slowly. So this was revenge? Another pause. Then, no. Everyone froze. Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. Then what is it? The answer came. Clear. Simple. Terrifying. Correction. Kale felt something shift inside him. What do you mean, correction? He asked. The voice responded without delay. A boundary was crossed. We responded. The room felt smaller, heavier. Kale tried to understand. You destroyed an entire fleet for one outpost? The answer came instantly. Yes. No hesitation. No doubt. No regret. Lyra stepped back, her face pale. That is not balance, she said. That is extreme. The voice replied. It is necessary. Kale's mind raced. You didn't warn them, he said. You didn't ask for surrender. The voice remained calm. They had already chosen. Silence filled the ship again. Then Kale asked a question that had been growing in his mind. And if someone crosses your boundary again? There was a pause. Longer this time. Then, they will not have time to regret it. No one spoke. No one moved. Because now, they understood. Humans were not unpredictable. They were not chaotic. They were not emotional like others believed. They were something else. They were precise. They were patient. And when the line was crossed, they were absolute. The voice spoke again. Your distress signal was logged. Kale blinked. What does that mean? We monitor all signals. Lyra frowned. All signals? Across the sector? Across all reachable space. A deep silence followed. Kale felt it again. That heavy realization. You were always listening, he said. Yes. Then why didn't you come sooner? Lyra asked. Her voice carried a hint of anger now. You could have saved them that outpost. For the first time, the voice paused longer than before. Then, it answered. We do not arrive early. The crew waited. And then the final line came. Slow, measured, final. We arrive when it matters. The word stayed in the air. Heavy, unforgettable. Kale closed his eyes for a moment. Now he understood. Humans did not protect everything. They did not try to stop every danger. They waited. They watched, and when the moment came, they ended it. Completely, the signal began to fade. Wait, Kale said quickly. There was no response. Will we see you again? He asked. A short pause. Then, unlikely. And just like that, the signal ended. Gone. The ship fell into silence once more. But this time, it was different. Not fear, not confusion. Understanding. Hours later, emergency systems on Verex 9 stabilized. Basic functions returned. Life support improved. They would survive. Before leaving the command deck, Lyra stopped beside Kale. Captain, she said softly. Yes. She looked at the stars. You think they're watching us right now? Kale followed her gaze. The void looked empty. But now, he was not sure. Yes, he said quietly. I think they always are. Far away, deep in the darkness, something moved. A shadow, massive, silent, watching, waiting. Because somewhere, someday, someone would cross the line again. And when that happened, humanity would answer, not with words, not with warnings, but with something far more final. In the darkest moment, they do not save you. They decide if you deserve to be saved. End of story.